Lecture 6, Other Research Database and Tools. In this lecture, we're going to talk about additional research strategies for database. We will go through a variety of databases, including the U.S. governmental accounting database and also a commercial database. And some of these databases are available in our library web pages, so we can take a look at those databases easily. First of all, let's take a look how we're going to use the 5-step database research strategies. Step 1, define the information needed. Right, first of all, we need to understand the fact, right, their context and their issues. Right, for example, first we need to understand, right, the industry of a client, how they do business. Right, given industry, we can understand, right, their trends, right, and their challenges and their competitors. We also want to check the financial news because those news may affect a client. Right. Also, we may want to check the background of the coming corporate executives, like board members or the newly hired CEOs, and also understand their new product and new patents. Okay, this information is going to help us better address the issue under research. But later, we're going to see a few databases that can help us get those information needed. Step 2, determine the sources. We can start with an easy source, like a secondary source, to help us understand the issue. Right? The easiest one could be your colleagues, right, or someone in the office, and ask them if they have performed similar research before. And also, you can check the company's document to see if a similar research has done before. So these can be an easy sources to get the information. Right? You may also want to check the company's web pages, right? Contact the employee there. Right? That could be the first sources you can spend time with. And commercial database have some advantages. In this case, not only they have a lot of features, but also, right, they provide better research tools, and they are pretty easy to retrieve data. Often are more user-friendly. Right, the disadvantages, and you may have to pay to subscribe. And sometimes we may need some specialized database, right? Or we may want to get trade information from those trade associations and industry newsletters. But for example, if you want to understand industry, you may need understand industry code. And previously, we have the SIC industry code, that is standard industrial classification. Now it has been replaced in most places by the North American Industry Classification Systems, or the NAICS. Okay, click the link to take a look at NAICS. Right, so this is the North American Industry Classification Systems, and it has been updating, every few years. And most recently is 2022, the systems. If you click 2022 systems, and you can see the sector numbers, right? We have a variety of industry sectors. And the 31 to 33 are reserved for manufacturing, so if you click these, right? Right, 311 is for food manufacturing. If you add another one, that's for animal food, right? And further, we have the 6-digit code, right? 311111. That's for dog and cat food manufacturing. So these are very detailed industry code, and here we can identify the companies easily by applying those industry code. Right, can want to see the history of changes. As you can see, for these specific industries, there's no change for the past a decade. Right, step 3, once we find a database, we're going to use search techniques. So we're going to see some of those techniques later when we actually take a look at those databases. Basically, right, we can search through keyword, right, or a segments search. Right, we can use a glossary or dictionary to search, and many times you want to record your own search histories. That's going to help you better understand results. Also, you can use these histories as a reminder for your future research or for other people's research. Step 4, view and manage the results. Search results come in various forms. Right, it could be a citation. Right, it could be an annotated or full text format. It could be a descriptive graphics, or it could be a chart, could be tables. But either way, we have to manage these results carefully. Right, if we use a source, we need to provide a proper citation. Okay, so we have to follow a certain format to put those citations. And we have a various format we can follow. For example, we have the APA style. The APA style uses author's last name, first name, initials, year of publications, with parentheses, article title, journal volumes, right? Or you can use American Accounting Association. These are very popular for accounting researchers. So here we have an example of APA citations, and then AAA citations. See the differences, okay? They are slightly different. Right, just to follow one of them and be consistent. Right, and last step is communicate the results. Right, we need to understand the target audience, whether we're going to show, right, easily understood results or show more advanced results to advanced audiences. Right, we need to organize individual elements into groups. Better to use colors, right, or some techniques in the data visualizations. Next, we introduce some of those accounting research tools we often use. And as said, some of these can be found in our libraries, so we can take a look over there. Right, commercial database, we have Checkpoint. Checkpoint is a famous database for tax research, and later it added, financial research libraries, such as the FASB code and many other features. But still, a lot of tax research people like to use Checkpoint for their research. Right, so it is available. Let's take a look. Right, first we go to the library web pages. Then we're going to find the database. The database are arranged by alphabetically, so for Checkpoint we click C, right? And pull down a little bit. You're going to see the Checkpoint Age. This is the most recent version, Checkpoint Age. Right, so we get there. Right, so you will need to log in, right, with email account and password. Right, we're going to use this link, although it has not been revised, right, for the new school name. Right, so here we are at the Checkpoint Age. Right, in this lecture, we're going to just briefly introduce how to access Checkpoint, right, what kind of information it, and illustrate how we can perform research. We're going to see detailed tax research in the next lecture. Right, as you can see, this is a research tool for tax professionals. you can search full text documentations, right, about the federal, state, and some of those international taxes. We can find the federal and state tax forms, schedules, and also see tax news. Right, so let's take a quick look at what we can do with this checkpoint. First, of course, we can search, right? Search by questions, keywords, or citations. Right, for example, I'm going to search topics for like a charitable contribution, right? Deductions. So I can choose the intuitive search. Basically, the system is going to guess what you want, right? They're going to read your questions and try to give you the best answers. Or you can select the term and the connectors. Okay, these are searched by the specific term you provide. So we're going to see examples when we cover tax research. But let me search something for you. For example, I want to understand the charitable contributions. Right, it's going to guess what you want. Contributions of land, for example. And how to evaluate charitable contribution of land. Okay, if this is the question you want, you can search. Right, and here we have areas to search. Right, the primary source of materials. These are the tax code. For example, I can select the Treasury regulations, Internal Revenue Code, right, and many others if you want. Or you can select the editorial materials. These are edited, right? Edited tax code. Anyway, so just to give you a quick look at what we have. Search. Right here we have the search results. And among the three areas I select, I have one findings from the Internal Revenue Code, right? And many from the Treasury regulations, and many more from the federal tax cases. So if you want to filter out by the source, for example, I just want to have this source and it's right, and sector 170. If you want to read, click. Right, now we have the full text from the Internal Revenue Code about charitable contributions and gifts, and how to measure their values. All right. And from the left side, navigation menus, we can do the same thing. For example, we can click Tools, but we have a quick link tools right here. Yeah, but we basically have the same thing, right? And for the tools, we're gonna find out some like form and line finders, right? If you want to get a specific tax form, and you can do this from here. Right, for example, if you want to federal tax form, tax years and number 1040, right? And you can find those forms easily. Right, and the quick links, right, can either go from the left or the shortcut here. The quick link we can find the federal cases if you know the citation. Right, so finally the news, tax news, right? Checkpoint collects tax news, everyday news has been updated. Right, in addition to tax research, Checkpoint also have accounting, auditing, and corporate finance section. So before the FASB has its own website for the codification, right? People use Checkpoint to do the FASB codification research. Now basically it has been replaced by the FASB codification website, but still it provides some of the unique features that the FASB website does not have. Right, so if you're interested, you can take a look at what kind of features Checkpoint provide for the codification research. Right, so these are the features that our university has a subscription. I think the full version of Checkpoint Edge will provide more, topics, but those are the two important, especially the tax topics, are the most important features for Checkpoint. Right, so this is just a quick introduction, and we're going to see tax research in the next lecture. Alright, so that's Checkpoint. Right, another popular commercial accounting database is the CCH, Accounting Research Managers, right? It provides insightful interpretation of GAAP, right, and many other accounting rules. And we don't have a subscription from our universities, but you can think the CCH as a bigger FASB codification database, right? The function will be very similar. AICPA Accounting Research Tools. So periodically, AICPA publish, right, the so-called the best practices in presentation and disclosures. So basically, right, publish disclosure examples by the public companies and how these companies have complied with professional standards. Right, and from this link you can obtain a copy to take a look. It's very useful if you want to know how other people report, similar transactions or disclosures. You can just follow their ways to present your result. And similarly, right, SCP also published best practices in presentation about the IFRS financial statement. And audit and accounting manuals. Those are, right, if you want to conduct an audit, and here are the best practice to follow, published by AICPA. Right, so if you want to get the most recent AICPA publications, and you have to subscribe, okay? And I believe it's not free. And let's take a look at the government accounting database. Just like FASB, right, the GASB also figure out a similar codification website, right? And this is for the government accounting research systems for state and local government accounting. So let's take a look at GASB's website. Right, so it's look very like the FASB codifications. Right, so basically from the left navigation bars you can search, you can get to the specific codifications directly. For example, right, if you want to understand what's a general principle, right, you can read those codifications. For example, if you want to understand what is fund accounting, right, fund accounting has been mentioned from these sources. All these sources cover what is fund accounting. Let's check the standards for fund accounting. Right, so here we have the full standards for fund accounting. All right, and you may also want to check the GASB implementation guides. So it's going to provide more details about how we record fund accounting, especially it has a question and answer sections from various sources to give you guidance on how to implement fund accounting. Right, so the codification is just like a dictionary that can lead you to anywhere you want, or if you want to check the original pronouncement for for government accounting standards, you can check original pronouncement, or just to check the comprehensive implementation guide on specific topics. Right, so this is just a quick tool of the GASB database. At federal levels, right, we have a different database. The Federal Accounting Standard Advisory Board, the FASB, publishes the Handbook of Authorities. Right, basically, this is accounting for the federal government. Right, if you click link, right, you have this file. And unfortunately, it's still in PDF version, so it's not a database, but you can find, by searching the PDF file. Right, like any accounting standards, it has a hierarchy of accounting authorities used for federal accountings. Right, under the FASB standards 34, we have basically 4 levels. At the top, we have the FASB standards interpretations. This is the top, followed by the FASB technical bulletins and the applicable AICPA industry audit and accounting guides. Then we have the technical releases, and finally that's implementation guides. So those are the 4-tier hierarchy of accounting authorities for federal accounting.